Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like we got the alternative team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, I like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you for the time. Yes, sir.
Sorry I'm a little late, boys. At the spring game, obviously, as you can see. A couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's fit. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, and I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you for the time. Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from our campus of Click Here Digital. Merry Christmas to everybody out here, our last show of the week before Christmas, as we'll be off Monday and back with you on Tuesday morning. So everybody enjoy the long weekend and have a safe holiday weekend, as we'll be talking to you about recruiting as LSU wraps it up earlier this week with a really nice class. We'll talk about LSU's class coming in, maybe a couple of more additions here before they get to spring ball, and a couple of early enrollees to talk about as well. We'll talk about that. LSU in bowl preparation as they are getting ready for Wisconsin. LSU basketball with a win over Lamar last night. The Pelicans beat the Cavs last night. And the New Orleans Saints fall to the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday Night Football. So a lot of sports to talk about here on this Friday edition of the show. Make sure and like, share, follow, subscribe if you have not already done so. We appreciate the interaction as we come to you daily 7 to 9 a.m. Lloyd is here on this Friday morning. Stewie is here on this Friday as we get ready for the holiday weekend. Remember, we're built by RMB Builders every day, rmb-builders.com, and on Instagram at RMB Builders. And our phone line is brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center. Real doctors, real solutions. Charlie Harvey. No guests coming up today on this Friday. Everybody kind of moving around for the holiday season, so we'll take the day off and give the guest the day off. Wrap up the week, kind of wrap up the year here on this.
A year in review.
Yeah.
On this, what feels like one of the final shows of the year.
It's been a wild year.
It has been.
Behind the scenes, yeah. 2023 was our year, Coach.
Yeah, it's a wild one. It's a wild one.
We're looking ahead to 2024.
Yeah.
Island hopping.
Flush it, next play.
Flush it.
Next play,
right,
Coach.
Next play.
Next play mentality.
What about the recruiting class? Earlier this week, LSU wrapped up a recruiting class that I don't think that you're the ranking. If you're looking at the ranking,
oh my God, this ranking got on Twitter. They were irate on Twitter about the ranking.
A lot of people. How does LSU finish behind? Who else? I mean, name one.
Notre Dame
was a big one.
Namingly.
It's a big one.
Notre Dame is also in the news.
Yeah,
again.
Notre Dame is in the news.
Yeah, they are.
Caught in the hen house.
They are. We'll talk about that. Mike Denbrock's name popping up on the Notre Dame offensive coordinator vacancy right now is
call Tommy Rees
a front runner. When you have guys like Bruce Feldman tweeting it out, Feldman's not making any type of social media post that he is not sourced on, that he is not checked on. That is a big-time reporter and a big-time newsmaker, or at least news reporter within college football. He's got really good sources. I'm not saying by any means that it's a done deal, but I'm saying that there's definitely some smoke to what's going on between Denbrock and Notre Dame if Bruce Feldman's talking about it from a national level. So we'll dip into that a little bit here.
He looks at his list and checks it twice.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got sources on both sides. He's got sources at LSU and at Notre Dame. I mean, he's as well connected from a national guy and someone who is in that position as you'll find. He's rarely wrong.
Trying to find him a new touchdown, Jesus.
I don't.
Can only go to
I
church
don't know how
once
much,
a week.
I mean, from Mike Denbrock's standpoint,
what does he stand to gain from going to Notre Dame?
I would think, looking at it on paper, that this would be a pretty easy decision on whether or not to stay or to go. And in my opinion, it would be easy to stay, right? I mean, like, you're coming off of a season where you've got the Heisman Trophy, you've got the number one offense, you've got maybe the top receiver, maybe behind Harrison, the top, one of the top receivers in the draft, the best receiver in the game this season, another first-round pick that you have on the resume, and I look at it in kind of a different lens of how much more can you accomplish? Which way is there only one way to go from here? If you're Denbrock,
It wouldn't be up.
right? Like, I mean, you're not going to achieve more next season.
I mean, Notre Dame just got Riley Leonard in the portal, but I mean, I don't think Riley Leonard's a Heisman finalist or a winner next year anyway. So I don't know what Notre Dame has on the outside either. And I think
you would think that Notre Dame probably can talk to anybody that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
ideally.
it's a call that when the phone rings, you pick it up. You take it.
But I'm just saying.
And he has ties there. I mean, he's coached there previously under Brian
He's
Kelly.
from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which I think is a big deal in coaching, especially when you get to
Louisiana.
Well, you get to the part of the career that these guys are in. I mean, specifically Denbrock, he's achieved a lot. I mean, he's most probably made his money. I mean, his money is probably right in the sense of, I mean, he's not really coaching for the money in, all of it being for that.
And if that were the case, then LSU was still in that mix because obviously they offered him an extension that didn't get approved by the Board of Supervisors. I saw Moscona put that on Twitter that it was wasn't on the BOS docket 2 days after to get approved. So that's
it was set to be approved in February.
Right. They kicked it down kicked the can.
If this is and when I saw that and Moscona tweeted it, and I believe that to be factual. If that is one of the roadblocks, you can change that real quick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if it's
Let's
just
have a meeting tomorrow.
Hey, look, Denbrock needs to have his contract approved or he's leaving to go to Notre Dame,
Zoom meeting.
that thing is going to happen. So, I don't think that it ultimately will be the roadblock that halts this thing. I just think from Denbrock's standpoint that if Feldman's tweeting about it, it makes me believe that Denbrock's thinking about it.
Yeah.
So if he's thinking about it, I think the pros and cons of it is that if you're looking at LSU's, in my opinion, going to reload on the number one offense in the country.
Yeah.
For the first, my first selling point would be you're going to have this offensive line that might be the best in the country again. They're a Joe Moore Award of finalist this season. I think next year they're going to be better.
Yeah.
And I know that the news came out that Charles Turner accepted his Senior Bowl invite, and he'll be going to Mobile. And I don't mean this with any disrespect. Turner had a really nice LSU career, and he'll have the opportunity to play at the next level. I think he'll have a shot. He'll be in training camp somewhere next year. But I know from speaking to some people that are around and close and on the staff that they love DJ Chester. And if now's the time, then now's the time. They've got no problem with that, of handing over the reins to a young, athletic Chester who showed some really good signs this year in his freshman season, that he can step in and carry the load, be a quality, replacement for a multi-year starter and a captain in Charles Turner. So the offensive line, first and foremost, for me, LSU's standpoint, would be a huge selling point to Denbrock from an offensive standpoint, or if he was to move on, whoever would be next. And I would think that you have the guy in-house in Joe Sloan would be the first name that would come to mind for me. And I think, first off, Sloan he has earned every opportunity he is going to get. And whether it's this year or next season, Joe Sloan is on a short list of offensive coordinators to keep an eye on for a lot of universities out there. A lot of people are watching Sloan, and only what happened to Jaden Daniels this season just brightened the spotlight of what's going on in Baton Rouge with Sloan in that room. So, I think LSU is, one of the priorities on the coaching staff is how do you keep him? Because Sloan is a guy, we've talked about it at times where from a coaching standpoint, you're looking for guys that can win in the living room and develop on the practice field and put guys out on Saturday that are producing, and then go out and sell that over and over and over again. And since Joe Sloan's been in Baton Rouge, the sales pitch that he's been able to cultivate of not only the relationships that he's built with guys like Bryce Underwood, who's set to announce on January 6th as the number one quarterback in the 2025 cycle, 2024 cycle. 2025 cycle? Bryce Underwood?
2025.
Yeah, 2025 cycle. But he's also been able to develop on the field Jaden Daniels. I mean, if you look at Daniels' development from his junior to his senior season, throw the awards out. Just look on the field of the quality of play and how much better he got. I mean, at some point you got to credit the coaching. And Denbrock deserves credit and Kelly deserves credit. But, granularly, Joe Sloan is the guy that's with him every single day, every single meeting, every single video clip, every single breakdown. Joe Sloan's sitting on his hip. So, I think there's a big emphasis on how do you, look, I'm not saying by any, I think that they're fighting to keep Denbrock. Obviously with the contract news a couple of weeks ago of an extension and a raise, that tells you that they're all in on Denbrock, and how can't you be? He's leading the number one offensive attack with the Heisman Trophy winner. But if in fact he is thinking about it, with Bruce Feldman tweeting about it, tells me that there's some smoke. I don't think LSU would have to look that far to find the next guy. I think Sloan's sitting in-house, and, he's earned his time, his stripe, his opportunity to be in line for it at least, or, have a chance at it. So it'll be interesting. I think the next 48 hours will be interesting to watch here on what happens there, because I don't think Notre Dame's going to sit on this, right? I mean,
the cat's out the bag.
They got to get this thing filled.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Does this not remind you of almost the inverse of a Joe Brady, Steve Ensminger situation? I put it on the poll. Like, if you could only have one, Mike Denbrock or Joe Sloan, it feels like LSU fans would be more inclined to keep Joe Sloan than Mike Denbrock, which is crazy considering the year you had. But it feels like the year with Ensminger and Brady, where Ensminger's calling the plays. But the mastermind is Brady. If you could keep one, which one would you have? And it kind of feels like that same situation where everybody almost always wants to quote-unquote backup quarterback. I mean, you saw it with Nussmeier and Jaden Daniels, where it's the shiniest thing in the room. It's like, but the potential. And obviously, if you're LSU, you want to keep things status quo. But if Denbrock leaves, it feels like it would be promote Sloan, and then you almost don't have to keep kicking the can down the road on what you kind of do with Sloan. When do we promote him? When do you, what do you do with him to keep him at LSU? Because if that's the secret sauce, that might be the most important man in the room.
Well, I mean, because
I don't know how much he's done with play calling.
He's had some emphasis on it.
Right, and I know he did it at Louisiana Tech. I was just talking about this year. It wasn't the same as you saw Brady in the booth where he's barking into the microphone. You didn't see that with Sloan. It was a lot of development at the quarterback position as opposed to, 3rd and 8. Oh, he's our third down guy.
Right. No, I think that Joe Sloan definitely had his hand on play calling situations, and not that he was making any in-game calls. I'm not saying that by any means. I think that he was referenced, and throughout the week, he's a guy that has a big voice.
Fingerprints are on it.
He's a guy that when he speaks, people listen. And I from the weight of the staff and the amount that Joe Sloan carries, it's not just on the field development where he checks a lot of the boxes, all the boxes, right? I mean, from the development of his crew and his room, there's not a lot to complain or push back on. I mean, he's got the Heisman Trophy winner and one of the biggest stories in college football over the last 2 years. He's got guys that are in line of veteran leadership like Garrett Nussmeier. He's got guys coming in, like Ricky Collins and Colin Hurley, and, possibly going to get commits from top quarterback prospects like Bryce Underwood over the next couple of weeks. I mean, the quarterback room is on fire. And Joe Sloan's sitting in the driver's seat. And he's one of those guys that, when you're looking for coaches, can they win in the living room? Can they win in the meeting room? And can they develop on the field and get the production on Saturdays? Sloan is doing all of that. So it's going to be interesting how this next couple of days works with the offensive coordinator, because, like I said, and I've said it a couple of times in the first hour, I think if Bruce Feldman's talking about it, something's going on. I'm not saying it's done. I'm not saying that it's close to done. I mean, I don't know, but there's some smoke here if you're just, if Feldman's saying it, he's not just kind of tweeting rumors. He's not saying it for fun.
And this all stems from the former Notre Dame offensive coordinator Gerard Parker being hired at Troy, and this was written in December 18th, so the wheels have been in motion for only a few days. But I'd imagine that, at least publicly, Notre Dame probably does business the same way LSU does, where it's, hey, Coach Parker let Notre Dame know. So this has been probably, we're all looking at Texas A&M trying to hire Denbrock. This could have been a situation in which his name is going to be floated out for multiple OC jobs. Let's try to get him signed, sealed, delivered to LSU. But I would imagine with the ties that they have at Notre Dame that this wasn't a surprise to people in the LSU building.
No.
So that's what, we all just assumed A&M because it was reported on, this is who they wanted first. But after Parker gets hired by Troy, then you have Missouri's offensive coordinator's name is in the bucket for Notre Dame OC. So it's a lot of moving factors. It's not like Denbrock's the only candidate, I guess
Right.
what I'm trying to say.
And look, from Denbrock's stock standpoint, if you're him, if you're his agent,
this
now
one's-
is the time to shop him.
This one's the press conference.
I mean, well, not only that. I mean, if
Oh,
even if he's
leverage.
even if he's not interested in Notre Dame, to the public, he's interested in Notre Dame.
Right.
You know, I mean, he wants to make his bosses think that he could go, and if you're not going to approve that contract until February, well, you know, I mean,
We'll
need it
talk again
now.
in February.
Yeah, I mean, we need it now. So, I mean, Denbrock has a ton of leverage. He's got a ton of negotiating power, and from a stock standpoint, this is as high as his stock has ever been. I mean, and he's had some successful runs. You know, I mean, he's had really good seasons. Cincinnati, Notre Dame. You know, I mean, he's done good things. He's never done anything as good as what he's just coming off of, you know, ripping off records and yards and awards. I mean, you know, one of the first things he's talking about on interviews, if he's talking to, you know, I mean, if he's talking to Notre Dame, is he's talking about the Heisman Trophy winner.
And the Broyles.
And he's talking about Malik Neighbors. And he's talking about Brian Thomas. I mean, he's capitalizing off of LSU just like LSU's capitalizing off the season. So, you know, I mean.
And for those that, you know, if you think it would be the Chicken Little and it would be the end of the world if Denbrock left, I think a lot of the offensive production you can look at and say, Jaden Daniels is out there doing his thing. Like
The receivers are out there doing their thing.
Right. Like a lot of it, I mean, I'm not complaining about Denbrock to any extent, but I'm just saying a lot of that came from, I don't want to say broken plays, but extended plays from what you saw from Jaden Daniels. It wasn't exactly on schedule, and how the offense was choreographed to go down the field like you saw like a Sean McVay yesterday, where it's like these first 15, you're about to be in hell. And it was Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman Trophy with and that's what happens when you have a dual threat quarterback. Like, I can hit you with both, and Denbrock putting Jaden in that situation to be able to make those plays is where he gets the credit. But I'm just saying, a lot of that was roll the ball out. I don't have to do a lot.
Was it
talent?
Was it last year that the Rams tried to hire Cortez Hankton as their offensive coordinator?
Yes.
Was it last year? Yeah, I mean, it had to have been because I mean, Hankton he's only been here 2 years.
You have offensive minds in the room, regardless of who it is.
And I think his name is being kicked around in a lot of circles.
Right.
You know, I mean, I believe it came up for his alma mater, Texas Southern.
For the head coaching
job. They may have got it filled since. But
I think they did.
Yeah, I think they did fill it.
Because
But
they
I mean,
didn't want to.
the point is people are talking about it. You know,
his name's out there.
His name is out there, and it's always going to be because of the same thing that Mike Denbrock is experiencing. I mean, everybody is talking about LSU's offense, right? Whether it's Jaden Daniels going in the draft, whether it's Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas playing in the bowl game, whether it's Logan Diggs coming back or going. You know, people are talking about LSU's to the production on the field, right? And I mean, if you're in charge of putting an offense together, well, I mean, you know, you're looking at the best. And, you know, all these guys are going to get opportunities from that. If not, you know, opportunities, at least the opportunity at leverage to get more money or more security out of their current situation. So it'll be interesting next couple of days for LSU as they're back on the practice field. And yesterday on the practice field, reading some of our friends' work over at On 3, Matthew Brunet, who is a part of the On 3 crowd and crew with the Bengal Tiger, with Shay and Billy and the rest of the guys over there, was out at practice yesterday and reading some of his work on 3 that you can find at on3.com at the Bengal Tiger, was that Matt House and John Jancic were working alongside one another, and that Jimmy Lindsey was back out at practice, but Pete Jenkins was really running the majority of the defensive line drills. He was involved, you know, in the reps, but, you know, Pete Jenkins was running the defensive line group. And, you know, from a coaching standpoint at LSU, you know, we've mentioned it. I mean, Brian Kelly is definitely working on his timeline here. You know, I think it is, without question, I think that there will be some shakeup and there will be some movement on the staff But Brian Kelly is just kind of handling at his own pace. And the more that you realize and talk to people around the situation, whether it's in recruiting, whether it's other coaches, high school coaches, even recruits, definitely seems like the plan is in place. Like LSU understands what they want to do, and who they're going with, and I think that's being communicated to people that need to know, right? And I think we've talked about it now for almost nearly a month. Of names to possibly watch in replacements. I think Corey Raymond's name comes up in the defensive back room, and a guy like Bo Davis up front in defensive line, I think are two names without question to watch as possible guys that could come in. Davis has done tremendous work at the University of Texas. He's worked for Nick Saban in Alabama. He's been in the NFL. He's a guy that we talk about. Checks both boxes. Wins inside the living room, wins on the field. Can get the guys in the living room, can get them to commit and sign the letter of intent, and then gets them to school and develops them into pros. He's got the pedigree. He's got the background. I mean, he would be a tremendous addition to the staff if he would be somebody that is possibly could be next. I saw where Blake Baker just inked a new extension at Missouri. His name is obviously being thrown around. They're paying him obviously because he is a young, qualified, really productive, young
Great
coach
recruiter.
in the game. Solid, wins in both the living room, wins on the field. But he's obviously got some leverage. People are talking to him behind the scenes where he's saying, "Hey, look, am I staying or am I going? Because they want me to come, but if you pay me, I'll stay." And he's working that in his benefit and making more money for it. So you see behind the scenes things are starting to come and starting to shake up. Remember Daily, we're brought to you by Hughes Mechanical. Our friend Travis Hughes over at Hughes Mechanical wishing all of our listeners and all of his customers happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody over and around the service area from Hughes Mechanical Contractors, 225-658-2147. Residential and commercial HVAC services are offered over at Hughes Mechanical Contractors. Call them at 225-658-2147 or online at hughesmechanical.net. They're a trusted Daikin dealer over there, and they can help you all along I-10 from New Orleans to Baton Rouge to Lafayette. They've got a headquarter in Zachary, but they also have offices in Covington and around the North Shore. Check them out online, hughesmechanical.net, hughesmechanical.net, and call Travis Hughes at 225-658-2147, a trusted Daikin dealer with Hughes Mechanical. Hughes Mechanical Contractors. All right, we'll be back more after this. We'll talk recruiting. LSU puts 27 freshmen into the class on Wednesday. They get them inked. They also bring in a couple in the transfer portal. They may not be done in the portal, but you look at the shift in balance in these recruiting classes. Heavy transfer portal additions in Brian Kelly's first two classes and first two cycles. Now the scale has more tipped to 27 freshmen, only 2 right now transfer portal guys added to the class. So you can see how LSU is making the move of building the program within the freshmen and expanding from there. We'll talk about that next year. The Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by R&B Builders and live here from Click Here Digital.
Okay, Gordon, ready to talk a little bit about yourself today? Okay, good. Tell us, who is Gordon McCurdy?
Great question. In a lot of ways, I'm just like most people. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I am a brother. I'm a Christian. I am a Tigers fan. I am a Louisiana sportsman. But above all, I am grateful to the people of Louisiana. We want to be your lawyers for life. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and in every Louisiana house, all the creatures were stirring.
Santa's coming.
Even the mouse. The stockings were hung, the cookies were out. Santa was on his way to Louisiana, there was no doubt. So let's celebrate the season and start the new year off right. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Well, it was Christmas Eve. Santa Claus was riding in his sleigh. He was packed with toys for the girls and boys, merrily on his way. When a Grinch riding on a reindeer pulled right from Santa Claus got Gordon, got it done.
Merry Christmas from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys.
Anything else? Anything else? Let's be special. Let's be strong. Let's spell greatness from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Offensive player of the game from LSU, Joe Burrow.
Football is life. Football is Joe Burrow.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on.
Did you do it?
Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Head health is incredibly important for our student athletes. One of the best ways we're trying to address concussions is on the front end. We're trying to prevent these before they happen. And a big part of that is speaking to the athletes, letting them know what to expect. Okay, speaking to the parents, what to look out for, talking to the coaches so they know the vital importance. Some of the big things we're looking for with a concussion, which is, a traumatic brain injury, is one, was there a mechanism? Was there an injury that took place that could lead to this? Often a direct blow to the head, a head-to-head hit. If someone's showing signs of concussion, our first step is always to remove them from activity, get them to a place where there's less stimuli, where we can really just sit down and get a feel for the athlete, what they're feeling. We're looking for headache, we're looking for dizziness, any sign that coordination is off, that something's just not right. Get a good evaluation of them to understand what's going on. It's not worth the risk that may be there to kind of ignore it, because there are very serious consequences if we don't treat a concussion properly.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Daniel Newman can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started today by calling Daniel Newman at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I ain't like my other side, now I'm sounding astounded. Drive by and let it ride like I'm whipping a Tesla. Pressure never fazed me, cause I'm bigger than pressure. I'm on my grind, bullshit, can't fit on my schedule. I'ma do what's best for me, you can keep all your lectures. Spend the summer stacking bread, might be gone to November. Pulling up like Trey Young just to freeze up December. I got niggas on the blood like traditional sinners. OGs love me, so I hang with traditional winners. I took a break for a minute, I had to go charge up. Had to focus on my business, I'm coming back smarter. Hit up DJ, tell him go like I'm dropping the Carter. Coming back like KD, it's time to go harder. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up.
Welcome back, Jordy Culotta Show, 7:35 here on this Friday before Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody out there, you filthy animals.
Basement.
What's going on?
We have to move you down to the
we're gonna have to
basement.
clear that office out real quick. We need the office space for a new hire.
LSU basketball winners last night over Lamar. As the Tigers,
Lamar just popped up on the screen. That was crazy.
Beat Lamar last night.
Now Lamar Jackson. Well, they did beat Lamar
I can't find the final hell.
What do you mean to play him out? What does that mean to play him out? Just do it live. We'll do it live. An all-time thing to get between him and what is it, Bourbon? That like the off the air that got leaked, and Bourbon's like, "Why's everybody moving around? I'm trying to do television."
Yeah. Is this the first time everybody's been
Jesus Christ!
You can tell like the producer's in his ear. He's like, "Calm down." I'm not calming down.
I mean, we're doing a live production. It's television, for Christ's sake.
It's an all timer.
It's just because he's trying not to lose his cool. Like he's just like, I can't. And then it could have been anybody. It's like when a head coach gets mad, and you're just trying to stand up as straight as possible because it could be anybody in the room. There's Travis Kelce told the Brian Kelly story of when a recruit was on the visit to Cincinnati, and at halftime he's like, "Hey, who's this guy? What are you gonna play?" And he was like, he's like, he was as white as the whiteboard could be, and they're like, "That's a recruit, coach. He's not gonna play." He's like, "Just was anybody. My blinders, my blinders are off."
Julian Edelman told stories about Belichick and does a great Belichick impression.
Yeah. Jules.
And was
Jules.
I mean, his stories about Belichick when they're rookies.
Oh yeah, he's like, you catch the punt with your feet, not your hands, Jules.
And they're sitting in the meeting room, and Belichick out of nowhere, he's got like pictures of all the veterans on the wall, and he's like, "Edelman, who's number 72?" And Edelman's like, I got no idea. He's like, well, it's Matt Light. He's only done 9 years. He's got 3 Super Bowls and 9 Pro Bowls. I mean, I'd like for you to, he's showing up next week. At least you could do is know his fucking name. Yeah. It's like, sorry, okay. Right.
I just got here, coach.
My bad, man. My bad.
He's in the Patriots Ring of Honor.
Yeah, right.
All these guys will be here next. Yeah. Maybe do some studying.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just.
Go talk to Ernie.
It's on, golly, I'm trying to think of, it might be his podcast.
I think it's Bert Kreischer, the comedian. Yeah, where they started they've been putting clips out of this thing, and Edelman is like a comedian.
He is. And he's like, he's like sitting like he's all relaxed, like doing the story. I mean, it's easy to listen to. You know, I mean, his Belichick is spot on.
Has anybody seen this Florida State thing?
What, that everybody's leaving?
Yeah, no, everybody's leaving, and they're trying to leave too.
Yeah, to the ACC. I get why they're mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. But is the play to leave? Because, I mean, like, next year the ACC champ's going to be in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, if you leave now, it's not going to retroactively put you into the tournament. I mean, like, you got left out of the tournament, and it's terrible. Like, I mean, it really is. I mean, it sucks. Again, they're tasked with putting the best 4 in, and I get it.
They weren't the best 4.
You know, I mean, I understand it. But getting mad and leaving the ACC if you're Florida State is not right. At this point, what's it going to prove? I mean, next season, the ACC champ is getting into the Final 12. That's going to happen. Like, no ifs, ands, no problems. So, you know, while it's stained in 2023, it's going to be a mark that's, you know, going to leave a taste that is going to be hard to move on from. Leaving now, what does it accomplish? I mean, really, I mean, what does it accomplish? I mean,
nothing.
I mean, you're pissed. I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but
if you leave, where you going? And this problem is never going to exist again.
My question would be, what's stopping them from becoming independent? Just a football team, right? I mean, the NCAA is not who they say they are. Notre Dame gets to do it. Why would you not, in this landscape of what college football is becoming? Because then you become one of the hottest at-large teams that you could be, and you take a spot away from somebody that probably shouldn't be in there, and you would still kind of have that ACC flavor to you, I guess. I don't know how quickly you could do that with what the schedule is. You would just play an all ACC schedule like what Notre Dame did whenever they had to be in a conference during the COVID year. Like, that would be my bigger play. Would be, is Florida State a big enough brand to be able to exist on its own for football?
That's a good question. I mean, and it's a good experiment of a brand because of how powerful they once were, how stale they became, and the resurgence over the last decade. You know, really. I think it would be interesting to see if they could. You know, because I wonder the
somebody's got to do it at some point.
I wonder the same with the brands of the SEC.
I would say like USC and Oregon should have probably experimented with that.
USC probably would be the one.
Yeah, I think both of them.
Yeah,
UCLA,
both. Yeah, but like
UCLA could do it.
Oregon would just be, you know, Nike money.
That's what I'm saying.
We could stand alone.
And they could all. That's when you start getting into this power dynamic and power shift of we're playing anybody, any place, anytime, and you're playing out the 12-team playoff end season essentially, where you'll see a round robin during the year, and then you'll see all these teams match up again, and then you have. This is how rivalries are formed, and you see them again in the playoff, and you're playing a game at home against somebody you played already at a, you know, where it's like, oh, we hate. All of a sudden, LSU hates Oregon.
And this 12-team playoff is going to change. It's going to have to change the early signing period because Peter Burns put out a tweet this week. The early signing day this year was
the 20th.
The 20th. Next year, the playoff starts on the 20th.
What a mess.
So
we haven't thought about everything.
What a mess.
So I mean, coaches will be getting ready for a playoff game, trying to sign a recruiting class and trying to keep their current players. They're gonna need a whole like 100-person staff just to.
I really don't know how you change the calendar because of the academics.
Yeah.
Well, that's the dirty secret.
Well, yeah.
Well, right.
You think we're here to play schools?
That's what I'm saying. Like you're grudge matching towards like having to debate on an open floor of how much does school matter.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, because and I mean, if this was like if this was like Congress and Senate, like, and you put it up to a vote, you put every football coach's name up on the board and said, "All right, vote,
yay or nay,"
and we can see it.
Ooh.
Does school matter?
Graduate champions or playoff?
Yeah, right. Like
national championship or graduate champions.
You're right.
I mean.
Well, and you would start.
I'll take that trophy.
And you'll start looking like if it does go to like if we play out this scenario when it goes to court, it would probably be people that have never really looked at it like from a judicial standpoint, going, how much are they going to school?
Right.
Like they're all. What are y'all doing in Tempe, or what are y'all doing preparing for a bowl game in New Orleans whenever you go to Michigan? Like, how are you getting your schoolwork done?
Right. Like, what's Michigan doing right
finals? Like, I don't know.
They play a game in California, and they're in Michigan.
It is, look, it is what we have talked about since this has gone in. It's the NFL.
Yep.
It's the minor league of the NFL, and you could argue it's as popular in America as the NFL is. Maybe not internationally, but in the United States of America, college football is the number 2 sport behind the NFL, and I would say that it rivals it in popularity and passion.
I mean, Coach, ask the NFL if they want to play a game on a Saturday during football.
Exactly.
During college football.
What do they do the first Saturday that it's open? They
Have a
play.
game. That's what I'm saying.
You know, like they don't want to compete.
I ain't fighting with that.
But as soon as they give them an available window to jump into their place, they're like, look, that's prime real estate.
I need this.
I mean, that's oceanfront property.
We can get that 18th game in right here.
That's something that the NFL would love to take. Look what they did with the NBA on Christmas Day. They're like,
yes,
that could be ours.
Exactly.
They don't dare come to.
I mean, look, they're taking Black Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they're like 2 years from now, they will own Black Friday.
Oh, for sure.
The Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, Amazon game. Amazon owns it. They want you sitting on your couch shopping on Amazon, watching the NFL.
Yeah, it'll be college football and NFL.
No doubt.
Whatever teams they pick, whatever teams Amazon wants.
And they also want you to schedule games like we talked about every single week that are marquee matchups. That's why, in my opinion, you look around and teams are now being run like NFL franchises. Look at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is looking at their offense, at Jackson Dart coming back, Judkins coming back, their wide receiver and Trey Harris coming back, some offensive linemen coming back. Lane Kiffin knows that his offense is going to produce next season. He knows he's going to have an offense that's going to light up scoreboards. So what do they need? They need defense? All right, open up the checkbook. He's got 3 boosters up there that what you have to understand, what NIL is at the end of it, it's paying players. Like that's what, like you got to have this peace of mind to you that like you're going to cut the check. And at Ole Miss, they've been paying players under the table and playing dirty forever, just like LSU has, just like A&M has, just like Bama has. But if you get 3 or 4 of these guys on the phone and say, hey, look, you can get Walter Nolan right now for $500,000. You got 2 guys cutting a check for $1 million saying, bring him in. I mean, that's why I don't think Kiffin's ever leaving Ole Miss.
Well,
he doesn't have to sign autographs. He doesn't have to take pictures. He doesn't get messed with at the restaurant in the square. Nobody talks to him. All he does is run a football franchise, and he's got 5 millionaires that love Ole Miss football on his speed dial. And when he needs their jet, he gets their plane. When he needs a player, he gets their money. And, when he needs Deion Smith, what is it, Deion Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Deion Smith to pull up to his signing in a Lamborghini. He's got a car dealer in Memphis to make that happen. They're running these places like NFL franchises right now. And while Graduate Champion sounds great, and I get it, it is. It's what it's all about. If you put the vote on the board and said, would you rather him go to class or would you rather play in the playoff? I think you're looking at the majority, like something like 92, 95, 98% of the vote saying, put him on the field.
We get paid to win football games. That's what they'll tell you.
Well, and if you're, Jesus, I just blanked. Ole Miss head coach. Give me a second.
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin.
If you're Lane Kiffin, this year was the test case for what you're seeing as possible at Ole Miss. Whatever. Okay, look, I've built a sustainable model to be able to succeed. Do you win championships or not? Because I do.
Yes. No.
If you want to, it's going to take X, Y, and Z, and now they've taken the leap for the first time, it feels like, to be able to plug some of the holes that Ole Miss wasn't really willing to go to that length with.
He's building
NIL.
a playoff team.
Yes. Yeah.
He's looking at next season and saying,
the model.
No Bama on the schedule. Mm-hmm. Offense coming back. Trey Harris, Jackson Dart, Judkins, these guys. Go get me a couple of more, trinkets, ornaments to play with on offense, but let's build a defense. Give Pete Golding whatever he wants. You want a DB from Louisiana? Pay him. You want a defensive lineman from Texas A&M? Pay him. You want an offensive? You want a rush defensive end from Tennessee and Florida? Pay him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they threw the bag out for Evan Stewart too.
Me either.
Yeah, why not?
Them or Alabama.
Yeah, Evan Stewart is the type of guy that every power player is picked up the phone and called. Like, I don't know what this is where LSU. This is the question that you have to have with LSU is. Are they in the mix for these like the top end guys? That's where it starts happening.
Billy had a nice piece yesterday. It was like a wish list of transfer portal players, and Evan Stewart was number 1 on the list.
Well, yeah,
he said it would be a fun exercise for LSU to try and flex its NIL muscles by trying to go get Evan Stewart.
Yeah,
see what you got.
This would be a good experiment. I agree. I mean, at least. Look at to recruiting, and remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Go Roof online, GEAUXroof.com, 927-8300, 225-927-8300. Holidays are here. If you need a new roof or somebody to jump up on the roof and diagnose a problem that you think exists, give our friends over at Go Roof a chance today. GEAUXroof.com, 927-8300, 225 area code. Roofs up with our friends over at Go Roof. A beautiful roof every single time. Remember, over at Go Roof, that's residential, commercial, or roofing maintenance. If you just need maintenance on the roof, they help you out. 225-927-8300.
After Santa lands his sleigh on your roof.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Get some
Call
shingles
them
back
December
up there.
26th. So the Tigers inked 27 commits
27
on
we thought 5
Wednesday.
for 5 was a dream.
On Wednesday, headlined by Trades Green and Deshaun McBride here in the state of Louisiana, 2 on the each side of the ball that probably will play pretty soon in Green and McBride. But you also had a couple of guys come in out of the transfer portal in wide receiver out of Mississippi State. Why is his name blanking me right now? And Jordan Gilbert, Texas A&M defensive back. Xavion Thomas. From Mississippi State, and Jordan Gilbert from A&M. That number could go up
today.
JUCO.
JUCO.
But they could take a couple of more out of the portal.
The Louisiana flavor is.
It is. But you're losing some Louisiana guys.
Yeah.
And you might be getting one back.
Wardell Mack.
I mean, that's
he'll think about that.
And that's.
But I mean. Damn.
No, Wardell Mack is not thinking about LSU. No. I mean, he never, for some reason, off rip, he was never interested.
Even breathed that LSU.
He didn't breathe any of that Louisiana
flavor.
Didn't
he come to Bayou Splash last year?
He did.
He was the one. He was notable because he was absent.
Yeah, he did.
Damn.
But he hasn't been not only has he not been he hadn't answered the phone. Like it's been.
Let me get on the phone with my people down in the city and see what I can do.
That man's already on 6th Street right now.
It's all right. They're shooting people on 6th Street.
Yeah. See. Come on home. Yeah. Safer here.
LSU signs 27 on Wednesday, and the balance and shift that you've seen in the class here, I think is refreshing, right? Because obviously Kelly wants to build this thing with freshmen, not transfer portal guys. How sustainable is that? How long do those guys stay? How much can you build your program by dealing with the transfer portal? Obviously, they had to hit it early. With the way that the roster in the locker room looked when Kelly first got here 2 years ago, and still an emphasis last season on bringing in some veteran guys with experience. But this year, look, you really started to see the shift and started to build the roster from the freshmen up. And this class, while I know it's not heavily ranked and it's not in rankings, and I understand that LSU should just roll out of bed and be in the top 10. And maybe that's true, but I do think that they got some areas of need here, and there are some high points, including the linebacking room and the offensive line room. Once again, I mean the offensive line, what Brad Davis has done. I mean, I know we've sang his praises here time and time again, but I mean he continues to put incredible work together and I don't know if they may not get another one today in Eccles. Is it today?
Yes, it's his birthday. He signed on Tuesday. Yeah, sorry.
And the letter of intent is in. Yes, the school knows.
Ooh.
The school knows. And I did see a change from was it Billy yesterday, who had his
RPM meter revved up,
his RPM, and shifting it towards LSU. So. I know it's LSU, Auburn, and Texas A&M, and Caden Eccles was a guy that's still on the board for the offensive line. But take Eccles off the board. I mean, whether he commits or not, this offensive line class that Davis put together, headlined by Weston Davis, the 5-star at one point, I think he's a 4-star now, I don't get it, is just another incredible, group of depth class, guys that coming in, I mean, Kyrie Lee, the interior offensive lineman out of John Ehret, Ethan Callaway, another big offensive tackle. He's out of North Carolina. Ori Williams out of Texas, who they really love throughout the process, is a big offensive tackle in this class as well. I mean, it is. Joseph Cryer is in this class, somebody who can potentially play center for LSU. I mean, it's another quality group of guys that come in. Some have headlines, some don't have as much, but you can tell the group is going to be, a unit that once developed, the depth that they've been able to put together on the offensive line is the most impressive thing to me that Brian Kelly has done since he's been here going into his third season. I mean, that has just been a group and a room that has gone from, LSU rarely being able to pull any talent into to now having pros just dripping out of the doorway. I mean, like, they got guys that are waiting, that aren't playing, that are going to be playing on Sunday right now. I mean, you got guys like Charles Turner, who's a multi-year starter, a team captain. These are one of those decisions. I don't know how high of a draft pick Turner's going to be, right? I don't know if he's going to be a first 3-day draft pick at this point.
Four to
maybe, yeah, I would say he'd be a
4 to 7 round pick.
4 to 7, 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, why would he leave? And I don't know. I can't answer that question. But internally, LSU losing a guy like that would cripple LSU in years past. I mean, look, you don't have to look that far back. I mean, you lose Lloyd Cushenberry, you got to go get the guy from Harvard. Not for security, to play. And the best center in the country, or at least the best center in the Southeast at that time, Ced Van Pran, was playing at Warren Easton.
Yep.
Now he's a 2-year all-conference guy on the national champs.
He might have made All-American.
Possibly. I think he did. I think he did. I mean, like the offensive line just a blink ago
right there
was in a dire situation. Now I would call it the most healthy room in the building.
If you rewind 2 years and a guy like Charles Turner was leaving, you would be going, "What is LSU gonna do?"
That's what I'm saying. Like it was crippling.
Yeah.
Who were they begging to stay? That when you were, I forget who exactly it was. There was one. I guess there was one like stalwart on the offensive line.
Was it Darren Rosenthal?
No, they threw Darren Rosenthal off.
I know, but I'm saying they tried to get him to stay his senior year, but then they ended up kicking him off the team because he stayed his senior year, and then they ended up kicking him off in the spring.
But they were at a point, like, regardless of who it was, there was one kind of consummate starter that you had on the offensive line, but it got to the point where you didn't have numbers.
Yeah, they were in. I'm telling you, dire strait.
Garrett Dellinger.
Yeah,
playing every position on the offensive line
as a freshman.
Yeah, in one game.
Wait, what did he play through? A torn
shoulder,
torn labrum,
torn labrum.
It was literally, dude, you have to play.
Yeah, you have to
strap that thing up. It's a pain tolerance issue.
I can't feel my fingers.
Yes, but you could feel that. And God bless those teams for going through it. That's I guess as wonky of a 2-year stretch as it kind of felt like LSU was spiraling a little bit out of control when you go 6-6 back-to-back years, and you're
6-7. 6-6 1 year, 6-7 next year because you lost the bowl game.
Oh yeah, that bowl game doesn't count. But that's literally the last time you were facing LSU. Looking at this could be your first losing season.
Yeah.
And LSU, the writer of the history book says the bowl games don't count, but they count when you need them to.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at back-to-back 10-win seasons, but you never had a losing regular season. We're undefeated in regular season football.
Absolutely. Sell what you got to sell.
I mean, he was probably up all night thinking of that.
I'm sure.
We're undefeated in regular season. I mean, in
I got regulation.
In regulation, first quarter, fourth quarter, we're undefeated.
So the offensive line class is, to me, another stellar group. The linebacking crew in this class, I think, is going to be enormous for LSU. Headlined by Tylen Singleton. Singleton comes out of North Louisiana, a guy who can really do it all. Kalaj Cobbins is a guy who's going to play the edge. He's another one that's a really good player. Devon Keys out of Texas, I think, is somebody who could butt into a really good player. Xavier Atkins is a guy who's from Louisiana, went over to Houston the past year or 2 years? Past year for sure. And had a really good senior season. He's coming in to LSU. He's a big physical player. Ahmad Bro, who Stewie and I saw in the Dome last week, is a big physical presence. So, I mean, they've got some guys that are really going to help LSU from a defensive second-level unit from that linebacking spot. And, I mean, really quality players. Some more guys that you can bring in and building it from the inside in the freshman group up. Obviously, Gabe Relaford, getting him late in the process was enormous. Having him in this class and having him so fired up to be in this class.
First one to sign.
You can tell he really wanted to be at LSU. He was just jaded about the offer thing. I mean, I would have been too. I mean, he probably had the Glenn Dorsey picture that we have in here on his wall his whole growing up, and then LSU doesn't offer, and I'm playing like the best player in the state, and I don't have an offer.
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, no. That I mean,
what more I gotta do?
Especially when you're 16.
He took that personally.
17 years old. And
I mean,
hopefully he takes it personal when he gets on
Michael
campus.
Jordan. I mean, like that got him, and I mean that could be a great start to a story too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw where he tweeted out like, I'm going to be one of the greats. Like, he's coming down here to play.
With it on his mind.
And he's coming here to prove it. So I think Relevant, being in,
he's got a rivalry in his mind at the school he's attending.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun to have him on campus and watch him develop into whoever he is. But it feels like he's gonna be somebody.
Yeah,
like he feels like he's gonna be a dog.
These next two classes are shaping up. Like this class and the next class are shaping up to build something at LSU.
The pass.
You got to close them.
That's different, right? You got to close them, but it's gonna be different if they get them all on campus.
Because I believe that if watching this Dylan Raiola.
Oh my goodness!
Recruitment. I mean, the quarterback recruitment on Bryce Underwood's going to get wild.
It hasn't even started.
No, it hasn't. And I'm not to say that if LSU gets the commitment on January 6th that you can't close him, but it's going to be a roll. It's going to be a wild ride.
I mean, you could even look at DK Moore too. You could get wild for him too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Texas is going to make that one tough.
Look at the 5-star receiver from Miami, the number 1 player in the country, Jeremiah Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He signed. Well, he supposedly signed with Ohio State. Came out with a statement saying that Ohio State was the school that he wanted to sign with, no matter the money. Like, he didn't care about the NIL because he said Miami and somebody else that was throwing like big money at him. And he was saying he didn't care about the money. He cared about playing like at Ohio State and developing there. Gets to signing day, puts the Ohio State hat on, doesn't sign the paper. So he has not sent in his letter of intent.
He has.
Oh, okay.
And speculation.
Okay.
As of 12:21 yesterday, 11:21 Central. But yes, it did go up.
Somebody came with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the same thing's happened to the big offensive tackle Jordan Seaton, who committed to Colorado.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I'm all Colorado. I'm in Colorado.
We got a bunch
of
dogs coming.
We're doing the deal. It comes to National Signing Day. It was like, not yet.
Oregon has a lot of money.
Not yet. Maryland's coming to the table for him.
Is he from Maryland?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
I think that's where he's from.
And you could, for the Jeremiah Smith, you could see the actual relief on Ryan Day because he had no clue what Jeremiah Smith was going to do. Like, whenever he announced Ohio State or picked up the hat, he was watching with bated breath going, it's literally out of his hands. Yeah. That's part of the recruiting when you get in with the Bryce Underwood. And look at what happened to Florida.
And
you have the number 3 class going into December 20th. On December 22nd, you wake up with the 14th ranked class. Like, I know we're not caught up on stars, but when you go hunting for big fish,
you got to play the big fish game.
Yeah, you're not going to catch all of them. You just hope to catch one, and they had to reel in DJ Lagway and spin it into, this is the guy that we wanted all along. Like, I know DJ Lagway wanted to come to LSU,
right?
And they kind of, you can look other places because he's a two-way guy. He wanted to play baseball and football,
and he's a quarterback too.
He's a quarterback. And for Florida to be like, all right, we got one after, but you start playing for, we're going to go 5 for 5. Like, LSU used to be in those games where, this is what the potential of what the class could be. And that 2024 class is what that is.
Yeah.
Of DK Moore, Harlan Berry, 2025. DK Moore, Harlan Berry, Bryce Underwood, where you're like.
LaFleur.
Yeah. Keelan Moses.
Yeah, Keelan Moses.
Coach, I watched Keelan Moses tape yesterday. He is nasty. Like, That's
he plays pissed.
Yeah, that's LSU football. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like these next two recruiting classes getting back to that Louisiana.
Yeah, I think Tylen Singleton feels a little old school.
Just
Xavier
a bunch
Atkins.
of dogs.
Xavier Atkins.
Like you come in here, you better be a dog, or you're gonna be out quick.
They need Sean Washington to be a player.
Yeah.
Yes.
He needs to be a player, and I kind of believe that they're sitting in a really good spot with Don McKinley.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think McKinley is somebody that has. It's been a hell of a ride, right? I mean, it's been to get to this point. I think both sides have just look, we're here now, and I believe that they have a really good chance to land him. And if you were able to spin this class into nabbing the two top defensive players in McKinley and Relaford, where 2 months ago you had no prayer on either of those guys, is a huge success in itself. But some of the other defensive guys in this class that I think are going to be some impact players, obviously we mentioned Deshaun McBride off the top, this big safety from Denham Springs. I mean, I almost think he's a plug-and-play guy. I think he's I mean, his size, watching some tape on him, hearing Caskey speak about him, watching the way he plays, and knowing that LSU's in some need back there. I don't think that it's ideal that you have a freshman safety come in and play, but if you ever did need 1-2, I think that Deshaun McBride would check the box. I mean, he's 6'2", 210 now.
He's like 6'3".
I mean, like, he's
long.
He's imposing.
He's one of those guys that throughout I guess the last couple of years that you were missing on from Louisiana.
Yes.
And now you're getting him in the boat early.
And Joel Rogers, I think, is a guy that brings in some good depth. I mean, hopefully by next season you're talking about Kylan Jackson, being a part of the mix. I mean, some of these guys that have been in the program for a while to really step up and play, and it could give a guy like Rogers a true timeline of being able to develop. I mean, maybe he plays special teams, maybe he's in on some games that they want to keep an eye on him, but for the most part, I think Rogers is in a first-year development where he's going to be a player down the line. I don't know how much you expect of him next season. I think him next to McBride, you probably believe McBride is going to be the more instant impact player than Rogers, but not to say that Rogers is going to be somebody down the line that's going to be a big-time player in this defense. I think just allow him to settle into that timeline. Wallace Foster and P.J. Woodland are two pretty solid corners in this class.
Woodland is the one
Woodland is a guy that they flipped late, and he's out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Player of the year of Mississippi.
And he's a big-time player,
Stud.
Right. I mean, he's a big-time player. Had a really good senior season. And Wallace Foster's a guy they've been on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've had Foster committed to the class. He's out of Warren Easton and had a not too much of a dramatic recruiting process. He was,
probably would have got a little crazier. He got hurt his junior year and was out a little bit of the beginning of his senior year. He missed all camp season last year. Couldn't camp, couldn't play 7-on-7. So I think, and he took a dip in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why his recruitment was a little silent. But he wanted to go to LSU all along.
Yeah, it seemed like he was all LSU the whole time. So the class is, it really is solid. I mean, I think, I know it's not ranked in a place where LSU usually sees their class fall.
But
it just depends on which ones you look at too.
Right, you get
1-3 has them as the sixth ranked class.
What's that do to you in the SEC? Fifth?
Right. I guess. But I'm just saying, there's other services that have LSU 11th or 12th.
Right.
So, and considering
LSU's 10 on all three.
I think if you're in the top 10, you're in it.
But they don't have a 5-star committed. You get Don McKinley committed, you'll probably jump at least 2 or 3 spots for sure.
And even, the Eccles kid is a player.
Exactly. So, you get Eccles and Don McKinley, you'll probably jump Notre Dame and Oklahoma. Because their average is 91, 7, 6'4", and Oklahoma's is 91, 8, 6'4". So, yeah, they'll probably jump Oklahoma and Notre Dame for sure. Auburn's up there, which is wild.
Yeah, no, Auburn had a good class. They're still on Terry Bussey, too.
Oh, yeah. So that's another 5-star.
Yeah.
LSU doesn't even have a 5-star committed, and they're in the top 10.
Yeah, but you're getting your 5 stars in the next cycle, right? Is that what it feel like? You'll be hard pressed to.
Underwood and Barry alone. I would think Simon too.
DK Moore.
DK Moore's a 5-star.
Yeah, they ain't gonna get James Simon his 5th star. You see what Caden Durham had to do to not get his. So I don't know how they do this 5-star thing. It's wild.
I mean, but if you look on the offensive side of the ball, they already had a lot of flash last year in the receiving room, and this year you add layers to it with wherever you want to put Trey'Dez Green, but you get Caleb Jackson, now you add Caden Durham. Like, there's still obviously LSU needed help on the defensive side, but the way they're able to stack the deck on the offensive end is looking to continue to be an elite offense, and maybe you have to kind of start shifting your thinking about how you look at LSU football just the slightest. It's not the defensive powerhouse it used to be where you're playing 9-6, but nobody is. But now at least you know you're getting guys that want. It's the Odell Jarvis effect, but you actually are using them.
Yeah.
Like, if you had an Odell and Jarvis in this era of LSU football, they would have gone. I mean, I know Odell went early, but it would have been a movie. Instead of LSU fans going, I'm telling you about Jarvis Landry, like, he wouldn't have gone in the 2nd round just because he ran a 4.6 on like, nobody knew who he was. And then but if you put him in an actual offense, like, instead of just running 2-man routes with Mettenberger,
I mean,
like, they had to be that elite to be able to make that thing go.
Oh,
man's got 10 seconds of time, but he can't find a receiver because there's only 2 of them out there.
We were watching.
That was a true NFL offense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that was
max protection,
max protect, long route,
play action,
hash mark to hash mark, throwing the ball across the field.
Like,
I mean, like,
routes take forever.
15-yard
out
routes from the opposite
You had a
hash.
dude with a cannon, and you had 2 world-class receivers.
Yeah.
And you had a big-time running back.
And Mettenberger with the, I don't care if you pick this off.
Yeah,
like,
Mettenberger was probably one of the only guys that could have
made those
pulled
throws.
That off.
Well, Brandon Harris had the arm for it, but he just never.
Not the mentality.
Clicked. Yeah.
No, that's what you have to be. Look what happened. Jarrett Lee had the arm for it. It broke him.
Gobbled him up.
I just kind of see the defense too.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Right. Like, I know what throw I'm supposed to make, and it takes that one blink of, oh wait, hitch, and then you throw it. It's like, gosh, shit. Damn. I got to go make a tackle.
Remember our friends over at Pierce Bespoke Suits, a mobile tailored suit service for you that you can get in touch with today. Our friend Grayson and the crew over at Pierce Bespoke are ready to take your call today. All you got to do is log online at piercebespoke.com, mention the Jordy Culotta Show, and you'll save $200 on your first custom fit. They take measurements for your new suit, for a sport coat, you need new pants, whatever it may be, to change your look and your style heading into 2024. Give our friends over at Pierce Bespoke a call today. piercebespoke.com. Tell Grayson Augustus that you heard it here on the show and you save $200 on your first fit. We'll be back. More of the show rolling on here. Second hour live from Click Here Digital. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays from the crew and all from us. We'll be back more after this. Jordy Culotta Show, built by RMB.
Can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us.
Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. GoMart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Well, the Auctioner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Auctioner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Auctioners to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Auctioner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at FourierAgency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health, get in touch with Fourier Insurance Agency, FourierAgency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. Fourier Agency.
Okay, Gordon, ready to talk a little bit about yourself today? Okay, good. Tell us, who is Gordon McKernan?
Great question. In a lot of ways, I'm just like most people. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I am a brother. I'm a Christian. I am a Tigers fan. I am a Louisiana sportsman. But above all, I am grateful to the people of Louisiana. We want to be your lawyers for life. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and in every Louisiana house, all the creatures were stirring.
Santa's coming.
Even the mouse. The stockings were hung, the cookies were out. Santa was on his way to Louisiana, there was no doubt. So let's celebrate the season and start the new year off right. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
It was Christmas Eve, Santa Claus was riding in his sleigh. He was packed with toys for the girls and boys, merrily on his way. When a Grinch riding on a reindeer pulled right from Santa Claus got Gordon, got it done.
Merry Christmas from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys.
Sing on, one. PCS, let's be special. Let's be strong. Let's smell greatness from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Offensive player of the game from LSU, Joe Burrow.
Football is life. Football is Joe Burrow.
Soul searching, I already found it. I ain't like my other side, now I'm sounding astounded. Drive by and let it ride like a whip in a Tesla. Pressure never fazed me, cause I'm bigger than pressure. I'm on my grind, bullshit, can't fit on my schedule. I'ma do what's best for me.
All right, welcome back here, Jordy Culotta Show, live here on this Friday morning. Click Here Digital, as we are live here from our Click Here Digital campus. Remember, Click Here Digital, setting your digital marketing plans. Get in touch with me directly if you need to. Jordy at clickheredigital.com or online at clickheredigital.com. Google ads, social media ads, helping you with your content, consulting you with your digital marketing, spending, and where you're spreading your money at. Let us help you out today. clickheredigital.com. All right, so we talked about the recruiting class. LSU football earlier this week, was able to put some really good players onto campus, including Tre'Davious Green, who we talked about. And Green had some high marks from Brian Kelly, and I thought it was very complimentary to the Zachary football staff and some insight into a true talent in our state. And by no means is this disrespectful to anybody or anyone at East Feliciana. I think if he would have stayed at East Feliciana, that Tre'Davious Green would have been just the player and the talent that he is. He transferred over to Zachary for his senior year in football, and I have had a chance to see Zachary up close, and I can tell you from firsthand accounts that it is as close to a college Division I program that exists in our state. I mean, there may be programs that are as organized, on plane, facilities, coaching, just all the support staff, all that goes in to making a high school football program tick. And there may be someone, but there's nobody better that's doing it than Zachary. I mean, Zachary has nearly every single resource you need, whether you're a player, coach, or individual that's passionate about high school football to be successful in. And Coach Brewerton is one of my absolute favorite dudes. I mean, away from football, he is hysterical, a great guy, stand up. You can see why he's so successful in coaching his program. And then on the field, I mean, the guy's an absolute killer and has reeled off 4 state championships for Zachary since he's been there in just 10 years. And they played for another one this past season. And what Brian Kelly said about Tre'Davious Green, in Kelly stating that he has not seen one prospect gain more ground or improve in the way that Green did from last season to this year more than Tre'Davious Green. I mean, he's saying like that Green has taken the biggest leap that he can recall of improving himself, of just an overall football player, than just about anybody he's recruited in 34 plus years in the trade. And talking to some coaches about Green, I mean, they are so excited about putting him alongside some of these other guys. We talked about Kamori and Pimpton earlier this week, and Pimpton is set to have a pretty not big presence in the bowl, but his presence is going to be expanded in this game plan compared to where he's been in the last few years. Obviously, the rule in the bowl where freshmen can play without any type of penalty from an eligibility standpoint is going to be huge for a guy like Pimpton. But you look down the line, you start to kind of peek down the line, and Mason Taylor, I think, very unfairly criticized this year for people that were. I'm not saying that there was this large majority of people that were criticizing, but I was on a show earlier this week, and somebody asked me about Mason Taylor's second year and just what happened to his progression, and I think he was a little more hurt than we probably lead on or talk about, and nagged him throughout the season. I expect an off season for Mason Taylor to get right and be back in this tight end room alongside guys like Mac Markway, who had a really standout freshman season, Kamorian Pimpton, who's really on a good development track. Bringing in guys like Tradez Green. We mentioned David LaFleur's son, J.D. LaFleur, who's in the 2025 class, who's one of the top tight ends in the country, who's out of Sulphur and's been committed for a while. I mean, what they've done to the tight end room is a lot like the transformation we talked about with the offensive line earlier this hour. But Tradez Green is one of these, I think, just kind of freaky, once every 7-10 years type of athlete that come through here that can just naturally do about anything you ask him to do. And in talking to some of the Zachary coaches, that was the real feedback on Green, right? Like that, man, he was a sponge, and whatever you told him, he was so athletically gifted that he would just be able to do it. I mean, there were a lot of times where the coaches would kind of be like, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's what we're asking for. I mean, we're trying to show you how to get there from a technique standpoint, but he's just very gifted, talented, super player that coming in, I think the addition to him to this offense, I don't think it'll take him long to get on the field. I'm not saying that he's going to step in and be their top pass catcher. I think he'll have a role at some point. But just even, further down the line of him in that room with guys like Pimpton, Markway, LaFleur, that even Taylor is an upperclassman is just, it's wild to think about. And the opportunity that it'll allow for some wide receivers, I think is going to open up the outside of the field with those guys, really, working the inside portions of the field and being just red zone murderers. I mean, watching Tradez Green in the Dome, I mean, Ruston was, probably the best team all in all that was there. They had zero answer for Green. I mean, they put their best cover corner. They rolled their safety to him. They put one of their best athletes on him. They were double teaming him. Sometimes they were triple teaming him within the 10-yard line. And, I mean, it was as simple as backyard of just throw it up, and he was going to embarrass people. I mean, he was Randy Mossing people all day. And to see him, kind of going from the Zachary coaching staff to, how he's kind of, been sprungboard into his college experience on a, real, legit, like high-level high school football program. And again, not taking anything away from East Feliciana, I think he was on the way there of being developed into that type of player. But, only few schools have the resources and capabilities that Zachary do, and Zachary has taken full advantage of that by putting the right people in place to manage those facilities and teach the players. And Brewerton is, got a army. I mean, his staff it's awesome. And to be around a player like Green and have him, in that, in that just kind of incubator of creating football players is going to really be a good mark for him going into LSU. So looking forward to watching Tradez Green play.
Well, and that helps with the exposure, right? You see him make the leap from one of the – I mean, it felt like it was kind of like a diamond in the rough situation where if you knew about LSU recruiting or you knew about, you kind of look around prep sports in Louisiana, he was always talked about in those circles, but you put him at – Zachary at a big-time program that's playing in the Dome for state championships. That's when the highlight tapes roll, and you see, all right, making this move first, I'm proving to myself I can play at this level. As a former basketball player going into football, like how good am I?
Mhm.
And then you go into, okay, with the exposure that I'm getting at Zachary, this is where you make the leap in the recruiting rankings where it's like, okay, I am who I thought I am. Like this is, I'm showing everybody around the world that I'm about to get 30 plus offers.
Right.
That's why some, that's why kids are able to move schools and just either up your level of competition or I just need the exposure to be able to get signed. It's what you kind of have to do in high school now with the way that college football is.
SNL Pest Control bring you our show every day. SNL Pest Control, located right here in Baton Rouge, that you can find online at slpest.com, slpest.com, or call Shelton and the crew at 252-262-0496. They are pest controllers that you can trust. Their company specializes in pest control and elimination. They handle insects, rodents, mosquitoes, bed bugs, termites, roaches, ants, and wasps. Are all within their scope. They have excellent service. I can tell you I'm a proud customer over at SNL Pest Services. Call them today, 225-262-0496 for more information from our friends over at SNL Pest Services. Shelton and his crew do great work. slpestservices.com. slpest.com is where you can find them online.
Bet Georgia in the Orange Bowl.
Man.
Florida State.
Cool.
So wait, have you heard this rumor about Kirby Smart to the Falcons?
No, I've not.
There's no way he leaves the dogs.
I've not heard that.
There is like some...
It seems like Kirby's a college guy.
He does feel like a college guy, but I think there is a point in every college football coach's career when you're on the mountaintop.
Got to test the water.
And these guys are coming after you.
Chargers won Jim Harbaugh.
And really, like, from people that have done both, like talking to a guy like Joe Brady, like just a little bit, taking the recruiting out for some people is a game changer. And in the NFL, you have a true off season.
Yeah.
Like there is a true couple of months where
you
do not work. Like you do nothing. Right? Like you can spend time with your family, you can play golf, you can travel, you can do whatever you want to do. In college football now, there legitimately there's no days off. I mean, like,
even when you're on vacation, you still got to keep that phone on.
And I'm not saying that Kirby Smart, is built like that, because Kirby looks like he loves recruiting.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, he's kind of built for that part of it. But I think every coach has that itch. If you're successful in college at such a high level, can you do it in the NFL? Maybe not every single one of them, but the majority.
Yeah.
That would be a huge shakeup.
Yeah, it would.
I would be shocked. I mean, I know what you're saying, because I do agree that at some point it feels like you've been to the mountaintop so many times, but it's such a cautionary tale of...
I think so too.
Okay, because once you step into the NFL, while there's so many, it's so advantageous, you would think, of not having to deal with recruiting, but then it becomes, I was listening to Matt Rule talk about this, about the differences between college and the NFL.
Uh-huh.
He's like, it's not like you get that time back. It goes into, now we're looking at payroll, now we're looking at how do we want to do the draft. We're doing this all year, like player evaluations for not only the future, but your current roster. Who do we want on the, should we trade for somebody? Should we be able, because you can do in-season shakeup, like you can't do that in college football. So the wheel still continues to rotate in the same, or the pendulum swings the same amount of time in the NFL as it does in college football. It's just replaced by things that you're more unfamiliar with, which is not a great position to be in. You may think you want to do it, but Kirby is already so good at what he does, and the things that he does well don't really translate to the NFL. Like player relationships, recruiting, the impassioned speeches that he gives to college football that speaks to younger players that are easy. Like that's an easy motivator in the NFL. That doesn't play. Like people don't want to hear your rah-rah. They're like, I don't even know if you're not going to convince them. Right. You have to be good first. They're playing for, first of all, to stay in the league, second of all, to win, and then you have to have a culture in which allows you to give those speeches and people actually believe in you. You have to convince them that you can coach them.
Well, you better be able to talk football.
Right. It's not just line up 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You're better than them.
The pride of the Falcons.
Right. Doesn't fly.
Right.
I mean, look at how And I would say the best example is probably Mike McDaniel, just from watching Hard Knocks. Like, he's not speaking to them about, it's about the pride of wearing the Miami Dolphins. He's talking about it's the pride of being on this team. And the way he talks to them as if, like, you should want this for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but if we all do it together, whatever. But it's not like this rah-rah thing. It's more of like a culture and a buy-in that he's created, and they believe in him because, one, they're successful, and two, once you establish that culture, then they want to win, then there's buy-in. It's hard to establish that whenever you've done it one way in college football for so long. Like, it just feels like Kirby has painted college, like, all over.
I agree. No, I mean, I'm with you. So was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. But he got kicked out, huh?
No, he was a national champ. I mean, everybody thought he was college.
Right. Well, I guess that's the...
Butch Davis.
The phone rings a little different when it's Jerry
Matt
on the
Rule,
other
Nick
end.
Saban. But Saban was pretty open when he got to Baton Rouge that he was always going to be curious about the NFL. Like, he never ran from that. So when Wayne Huizenga, the Miami Dolphins owner at the time, founder of Blockbuster Video,
Boy, he did out the right time.
Did not sell Blockbuster Video when Netflix came to him and offered him, like, I want to say $100 million for Blockbuster, and he
scoffed at him.
He scoffed at it.
Now there's one left.
One of the great studies in heirs, like they screwed up the
trust.
The trust, like his kids, like the way that they handed it down, ended up losing the money because of either, I want to say it is heir tax, and like the way that it was it
wasn't tax free in the trust. It was still getting.
And then Blockbuster went
south.
Under.
They probably had a lot of it in stock.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a great read. The Huizengas is a great read on, like,
how brutal would that be?
Rich people that have, like,
just
blew it. And, like, the old Philadelphia Eagles owner, there's a story in a book about it. He says that when he's, like, losing his fortune, one of his friends comes to him and was like, "Man, I got you. I'm going to help you." He's like, I got you $10 million. And he's like, "What you want me to do with $10 million, bro?" He's like,
you have no idea the tables I've been at.
I'm a $500 million in the hole now.
Yeah. That's not a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, these just amounts of money is just absurd. But it's interesting. I mean, like, these guys come and sit across from you, right? I mean, like, Arthur Blank, the founder of Home Depot,
right,
who money is no object for.
Can't spend it all.
Cares so much about winning. Like, he'll do anything to be in the cool guys club at the NFL owners meetings that he just can't crack. You know what I mean? Like Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, like, these guys are, like, pointing and laughing at guys like Arthur Blank. Like, I mean, he'll never be in the club. So Arthur Blank's like, I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I mean, Kirby Smart, how much money do you want?
Right, and for somebody like Blank, who's never really been to the mountaintop, I guess he's one of the few owners that cares. Like, he wants the Falcons to be
right.
He wants a championship.
He's passionate, like, I'll pay.
Right,
whatever it takes.
And now I'm desperate. I'm getting older, and okay, you start kind of appeasing the fan base, especially when you're losing games to the Carolina Panthers 9-7, and you're like, okay, we clearly have to make a change. What's the best case scenario for the Atlanta Falcons and the fan base? Go get Kirby Smart.
Right.
It's the PR move. This will get people excited.
It's PR 101. I mean, he's on the front page of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution every day. Everybody's paying it. I mean,
this is the same guy that traded up to get Michael Vick. Like, okay, what will excite the fan base? What plays? Like,
Julio.
Right. But he's made, I don't want to say desperate moves, but moves that have moved the needle.
Just risk.
Yeah, I'll take the risk to try to win.
Yeah, just high risk moves.
This would be his first one in a minute.
It was, and makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and when you look at Atlanta from, like, kind of like a nuclear, like the nucleus of them, they don't feel like that far away.
They got pieces.
Like, they definitely, when you looked at if you were looking at them, like, from a potential job aspect, you'd be like, look, that's attractive. I don't know.
Probably need a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're thinking.
You're a quarterback away, probably.
Right, and you're also thinking, like, hey, Art, you want to win? Like, all right, we got the coach, now go get the quarterback.
Where would they Where are they in the draft right now? Like, where would be their draft pick as of right now?
I think they're like the same thing as the Saints right now, right? Aren't they like 7 and 8?
Right. So if they
in NFL hell,
they have to make a decision, I guess. Like, I know that NFL teams don't quote unquote tank, but it does feel like some teams start to look at
6 and 8.
Yeah, they should be looking at draft position, not after you lose to the Carolina Panthers, you pack that thing up.
10th. They currently own the 10th pick in the draft.
Hell yeah, that's a moving place. We can move from there.
That's what I'm saying. If you're Kirby Smart, you move up, and if you take somebody like Jaden Daniels, now you have a little bit of life in this organization. You have Kirby Smart and Jaden Daniels, and you go get an offensive guy.
Makes sense.
It makes it. Yeah, you have Pitts.
You heard it here first. Kirby Smart to the Falcons.
Oh God, you're about to start off.
That would be the best news for.
Who would be like the real candidates for Georgia? Dan Lanning.
Yeah,
I was about to say Dan Lanning.
Dan
right?
Lanning would go back in a heartbeat.
Danny.
Because I don't really know who else is on their staff. It feels like Kirby and that's it. Like, they're not talking about anybody else.
Because I think the DB coach just left to be the DC at Syracuse.
He did.
So
he's the head coach. The DB coach at Georgia, the former DB coach at Georgia, is the head coach at Syracuse. Elijah Robinson's the defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator.
Okay.
They got Will Muschamp, co-defensive coordinator. How you doing? Thank you. Welcome to the...
Coach is his kid.
You're still in the fraternity.
I think his kid's on the team.
On Georgia?
Uh-huh.
Doesn't he play safety?
Yeah, just like Kirby and Will.
Yeah, run it back, boys.
Kid's a stud.
And then Mike Bobo is your offensive coordinator. So I wouldn't think they would hire in-house. They would have to go and get somebody.
For the offensive coordinator?
If Georgia needed a new head coach.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, you can't.
Dan Lanning.
You can't hand that job. That's not. I mean, that's the biggest job in the country.
Yeah.
If it opens
up. It would be that's of the...
I mean, it's the best roster in the country.
Not only that, but you see what it can...
Right. I mean, Kirby has shown you the way.
Dan Lanning seems like the only person that would be able to... that the Georgia fan base would be excited about outside of Nick Saban. Like, if you don't get Dan Lanning and you look at Dabo Swinney, they would be livid. If you...
Dabo.
Whit Muschamp is committed to Vanderbilt.
And probably had to make some
That's
room.
one of Muschamp's sons.
Uh-huh.
One of his other son plays quarterback at Georgia. He's a walk-on.
Yeah, his life is awesome.
But his second son is going to Vanderbilt.
His oldest son is a walk-on at Georgia?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Would you get Mike Norvell?
Jackson Muschamp.
He sounds like a Sigma guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mike Norvell?
No. What's his name? Jackson Muschamp?
Jackson Muschamp.
Yeah.
That's all. The second son's name is Whit Muschamp.
Wow.
Oh, damn, it still didn't get him. Whit meet Whit.
Whit.
Going to
Jackson Muschamp sounds like a walking liability.
It does.
Dad, can I
I'm
borrow
the third string quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Don't check my pocket.
Wow. You've never heard of me, but you've never heard of me.
Yes. I'm well known in this circle over here.
That's right.
These people know me.
Right.
You know me by my mugshot.
Oh, no, I don't play. No. I don't want to.
Hell no, I don't
Coach,
play. I didn't put my pads on.
Oh, shoulders a little tight.
Yeah, right. I can't. Today?
My hands are cramping.
No, Coach, I can't play today. I'm hungover.
Why are
man.
you sweating? But, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But that would be, it opens up the
a
SEC.
great shakeup. It would be. I would think that Kirby would want to compete in this world of college football.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't leave now.
It's about to get real fun.
But, yeah, because I would also say, like, if it wasn't going to a 12-team playoff, he's probably looking at college football. He's like, how disorganized is this bullshit? Like, I'll go undefeated and lose in an SEC championship game and I get kicked out. Like, what's the point? Like, take me to the NFL where the stakes are real. Like, there's a real model of what happens here. It's not decided by a committee of Bobos.
Yeah, I mean, and Kirby's he's one of the few that could go anywhere he wants when he wants, right? Like, he could tell Arthur Blank, like, hey, look, man, I'm going to stick this thing out for a year or two and see how this college football thing, this format works. But, I am super interested in your job.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'll dabble. It's the Nick Saban. Like, it would be of that same ilk of, okay, if I don't like it, I know I'll always have a job in college football. And people will be crawling across glass to get me.
And like the way that Bama is, I mean, Muschamp could like set up, go to the NFL, flame out, Saban retire, and get Muschamp and get Kirby Smart.
I was just about to say that. It sets up perfectly for him to go to Alabama. Then you have the Nick Saban tour 2.0 of Georgia fans, one of their own, turns against him, turns coat, goes to the NFL. Georgia's job isn't open. And so, but Alabama's is, and it's just the
Bama. They flipped everybody.
How the
got LSU's coach, got Georgia's coach.
The whole conference would just be like, I can't stand Alabama. Like Georgia already doesn't like them, and now you took our guy. Like
Muschamp feels more Bama than he does Georgia.
You got to stop saying Muschamp.
Smart,
not smart.
Smart feels more
Bama
than Georgia.
Well, he could fit the polo, that's for sure. It's just it wouldn't surprise me.
No, not at all.
If that or Georgia, if that happens, learn from LSU's mistakes. Whoever you hire, pay the buyout and get Kirby Smart back.
If he ever wants back in, bring him back.
Sorry, I don't know. You did a great.
You were great.
Yeah, nice 10-win season.
You can go to Bama.
Yeah,
I'll
set you up.
Yeah, all right. Like here you go, but you're not. You can't lose out like.
LSU did. You get that's just not worth it. It's not worth the heartache.
Saban calling saying he wants his job back. You just go send the jet, pick him up, fly him back.
Thank God.
Tell Miles to pack his office up. The Saints last night. I didn't want to get to this.
Oh,
but
pack your office up.
No, they're not. Nobody's losing their job at the Saints. Did you see Gale and the crew last night in the owner's suite with Breeze? Man, Breeze's hair looks so fake.
Breeze looked like he was disgusted with that game.
I mean, how can't you be? That was 30-22, a great stat patter in Derek Carr. Typical Carr fashion at the end of the game. Hit a big touchdown to make it look closer than it actually was. It was not close at all. Carr threw touchdown passes to Juwan Johnson and A.T. Perry in the fourth quarter. He also hit a 2-point conversion. 319 yards for Carr and just a putrid interception.
Bet him with the 325 and he gets his 319. Like, see, Derek Carr.
You're a bad better, Stevie.
Yeah,
I knew it was a stat pattern, so I knew in the second half he was about to just sling that thing.
Go second half live.
Relax.
Teach us, man.
We'll learn.
Learn me something.
We're on the road to 3K over here.
Shohei Ohtani in the house last night.
Yep.
The Shohei kid.
Dodgers paying more money. They hit another $300 million contract.
Well, this is because Shohei deferred all of his money.
Yeah. Now we get Yakamoto. Or is that his
name?
Yamamoto.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
So the Saints last night, 30-22.
You remember that?
They're still in the playoff hunt, which is absurd. Saints are 7-8 now.
You win that division, Coach.
You almost can't win the division because you have they lost the tiebreaker to the Bucks.
Right.
So you need some help. And the Bucks have the Jaguars left, and then the Saints.
The Saints play at the Bucks next.
I think they have right. So it doesn't matter really what you do in that game if the Bucks don't drop one. You're still kind of in the. That game was so important for the Saints' chances to make the playoffs because they were in the hunt for a wild card spot, which is insane to think. But everybody's just kind of not competing in the NFC. So there was a chance that you pull a Seattle Seahawks who went 7-9, and the Saints were 10-6, and the Saints were the wild card team that year because Seattle won their division. You had to go to Seattle and you got beast-quaked. And now the Saints could be in that same position, but they would be 7-9, and it would have been a wild card team. Instead, you have to bank on winning the division, and then you would be the Seahawks in that scenario, where your division winner hosts a playoff game against the Cowboys, and you could win.
Right, you could.
But I don't see the Saints getting into the playoffs, and I would hope that would. I wanted it to happen, but now you've dropped out of the drafting position you wanted to be in, so it doesn't matter. You're stuck in hell. Like you said, you're just in 10th or 12th pick, whatever.
Purgatory.
And Dennis Allen will come back, and Pete Carmichael will go, I guess. And you run this whole thing back.
DA.
You'll run it all back.
He looks as if he is...
Looks like he's playing Halloween.
It's like he's shocked at watching the game. Like he's just his eyes are always bugged.
It looks like
I can't believe I'm coaching the Saints.
The chewing of the gum
it kills me.
It's so the Sean Payton. It's like, bro, can you just be yourself?
It's Jake Johnson and Max Johnson. Be your own man.
Be your own man. He tucks it in the ear, like in the hat
He
behind.
has it like in the back, the coach tuck.
So I can grab it real quick. What are you gonna write down?
Then he has one pin.
What are you writing, Coach?
One pin on the shirt.
Yeah, got a pin on the shirt.
Gum.
Smacking gum.
Coach, can you?
I mean, nothing beats.
Call a play.
Nothing beats the. Who's the former? Oh, Matt Patricia, who has a
he's got a
laminated play sheet with a pencil.
Yeah.
This man worked at.
Doesn't he do the cut sleeves?
I think he did. He went for that for a minute. But,
yeah.
I mean, there's no bigger sign
of Belichick cutty.
I mean, Belichick cuts the pants and the sleeves.
Like, he doesn't wear a shirt at all.
Yeah.
Man's built like a barrel.
Did you see him on College Game Day with the Army helmet on?
Yeah. Like the oldest helmet you could find.
It had the
62 edition.
It had the Chinese inscription from the Chinese bandit.
And he gave him a shout out. He gave Paul Diesel
a shout. I mean, the history that man knows.
I mean, he got talking on Army's football 1961 team, and it was as if he was like breaking down a Super Bowl win. I mean, he was like giving you names, plays.
His dad coached there, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, he was like a kid.
This is where he learned it all.
Right.
Yeah, he's Hayden Panettiere and Remember the Titans. He's watching film on the refrigerator.
Right. All right, so everybody have a Merry Christmas, man. It's been a cool run here at Click Here over the last couple of months. Appreciate them, and it's been very thankful for where we are and where we're going as far as the show is concerned. We appreciate you being there with us, and make sure everybody has a Merry Christmas. Has a safe weekend. We'll be off on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday. So we'll be back on Tuesday, December 26th, and back for you here. So make sure and check back in. We will be getting prepared for the bowl game, obviously, as LSU will be into bowl prep there as next week hits. Have a great week. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, subscribe button if you have not already done so. Merry Christmas. We'll be back with you on Tuesday morning.
Greg Penn returns.
Greg Penn comes.
Hey, Chino. Put my headphones up. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. It's the hottest show around. We ain't got to flex. Call up G, we get it done. We earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in. Where they going next? Throw up the L's. Now we lit. Band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live. Mike Duck for show. Open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah.